and welcome back to Belle's Books. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Please don't forget to like it and subscribe if you would like to see more of my content, get to know me and watch more of my videos. I post every single week and I'm starting a new posting schedule where I'm posting every Friday afternoon, so you can look out for my videos then or even just turn your post notifications on. Today I am going to be reviewing The Girls I've Been by Tess Sharpe, and I thought I'd read this because there's a Netflix movie coming out at some point featuring Millie Bobbie Brown, and I knew that I would want to read the book before I watched the film, and once the film was on Netflix there was no way I was going to have enough self-control not to watch it. So I decided to go ahead and read the book now rather than waiting. So this book is basically about a girl called Nora who kind of has a very difficult, challenging past. She's been through a lot of different types of trauma, and then she finds herself in kind of a new life that's far more peaceful, and then that peace is suddenly shattered when she visits a bank with her friends and is held at gunpoint because there is a robbery going on, a bank heist if you will. And so you basically stay with her as she kind of experiences this. There are various shocking twists and turns, and you find out more about her past, who she is, and the novel does kind of reach a reconciliation ending where everything is solved. So I was really thinking that I would love this book. It sounded like it was going to be funny, it was going to be kind of young adult, it was going to be kind of light-hearted, like, I don't know, bank robbery, but make it funny, like comedy, you know? But that definitely was not the case at all. In fact, I just found myself confused about what this book was supposed to be. I don't get it. Who is it written for? What is the point? Like, I honestly don't know. So you have this really weird blurb on the back, which makes it sound like it's gonna be funny. It's full of like kind of asides to the reader and little jokes, sarcastic humour. So you kind of get this impression that this book is a comedy, which is what I thought it was. And then you dive into the book and it's kind of funny, but it's not as funny as the cover makes it out to be. It's like an attempt at humour or comedy or lightheartedness. But I don't think it's done very well. Like, if I had to guess, I would guess that the blurb is written by a different person to the book, simply because the voice on the back is just nothing like the voice in the novel. So then you have this kind of lighthearted, kind of funny, but definitely lighthearted book that is absolutely littered and chock-a-block full of really intense, traumatic, triggering content. And it's just like, what is the point? I didn't feel like the situations where these things were happening were very realistic. So everything felt super fictionalized, and there was a kind of, oh, that would never happen, that's completely fictional story or plot line. But then you have these very real, very kind of plausible acts of abuse and violence and neglect and even rape and sexual assault. That's just like very real, but it's fit within this completely fictionalized story, and I don't understand what the point was, honestly. I wouldn't recommend this book to very many people. I couldn't recommend it to any young person because I feel like the content is not dealt with in a way that is kind of understandable. It's obviously illustrates the events to be bad and negative, but it doesn't illustrate them in a very good way, and I don't think it would be useful for any young person to read it. At the same time, I wouldn't recommend it to an adult or an older reader because the writing style is juvenile. And so I just found myself confused about who this book was written for. I don't know if that does make sense, but if you've read this book, let me know in the comments what you thought of that. So the other thing I noticed about this book, which I really did not enjoy, was the writing style. She writes like she's trying to constantly be suspenseful. Like, as a reader, you just feel like she's constantly trying to build up to this point of suspense, and she's always you've got to stay there in the seat, like being suspenseful. But there's never any moment where you can just relax from that kind of suspense, and there's never really any moment when the suspense builds further because you're already at high suspense from page one. That was just kind of tiring to read. I mean, it was fine. I think if that was the only thing wrong with the novel, I wouldn't necessarily mind, and I'd still go ahead and recommend it. The other thing was she had such an irritating habit. Every single chapter needed to end with a big bang, short, snappy, exciting statement. And so we've got, I learned the hard way that I was wrong. Now I have to do it again. And the best thing you can do with a bad man is destroy him. Door swings open. Do you see what I mean? So each one of those lines is from a different chapter, and it's just like, you cannot end all of your chapters in exactly the same way. Having a good writing style isn't repeatedly using the exact same technique over and over again, shoving it down your reader's throat. I noticed 3 or 4 chapters in, this was the only kind of technique she seemed to have, and it bugged me for the rest of the novel. It was kind of interesting how there was like core evidence mixed in with narrative, and the kind of flashback, flash forward perspective of the novel meant that you were kind of living in 2 timelines. I thought that was handled well. Clearly, I think that can get confusing sometimes in books if the writer isn't careful about clearly indicating what period they're in, where they're switching, and what the point of the flashbacks is for the future. And I think that was handled really well, but there were so many other kind of underlying issues and nagging kind of problems with the novel that I just couldn't recommend this to anyone. I probably will watch a Netflix movie because, you know, like if something comes out on Netflix, you watch it, right? Isn't that all of us? I don't know if any of those things resonate with you, and if you disagree with me and you absolutely love this book, please tell me in the comments exactly why below, because I just would love to hear. It's not because I want to have a debate with you, it's more that I just want to know what other people thought of it and kind of get more perspectives to see if there's something I'm missing. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to subscribe before you go. You can also follow my Instagram at Bells Books for more book related content if you would like.